Welcome back, students. Today we are going to make another video about cranial nerves. This is very important for NEET exam. Friends, so every year definitely one question falls from this topic. If at all you are good at this cranial nerves, you will be getting 4 marks in your pocket before going to read the exam. So let's start this cranial nerves. Cranial nerves emerge or ends with brain. So cranial nerves emerge or ends with brain. That's why these are called cranial nerves. These cranial nerves are present in all the vertebrates. The number of cranial nerves differ in different animals. The number of cranial nerves in fishes and amphibians are 10 pairs. The number of cranial nerves in reptiles, aves, and mammals are 12 pairs. But exception in snakes. So snakes has 10 pairs of cranial nerves. Hope you all understand, students. So cranial nerves emerge or ends with the brain. So that is why these nerves are known as cranial nerves. The cranial nerves are present in all the vertebrates. The number of cranial nerves are differ in different animals. And the number of cranial nerves in fishes and amphibians are 10 pairs. Number of cranial nerves in reptiles, aves, and mammals are 12 pairs. But in snakes, there are 10 pairs of cranial nerves only. So even in human, so therefore in human also have 12 pairs of cranial nerves. These cranial nerves are of 3 types on the basis of nature or of functions. So usually there are 3 types of cranial nerves on the basis of nature and functions. So what they are? They are, number 1 is sensory nerves, 2 is motor nerves, 3 is mixed nerves. These sensory nerves these cranial nerves can be written as a formula to remember is root phagish or phagish. So now let's see this. So cranial nerves, some are act as sensory, some are act as motor, some are act as mixed on the basis of the functions, the nature. Now what are these cranial nerves? We'll see that. The first, this is very important, the number and the sequency. The first cranial nerve now is olfactory nerve. Second cranial is optic nerve. Third cranial nerve is oculomotor nerve. Fourth cranial nerve is trochlear nerve. And fifth cranial is trigeminal. Sixth one is abducens. Seventh is a facial nerve. Eighth is auditory nerve. Ninth is glossopharyngeal nerve. And 10th cranial nerve is named as vagus nerve. 11th cranial is spinal accessory nerve. 12th cranial nerve is hypoglossal nerve. So there are 12 pairs of cranial nerve. Let us start with first. O is called as olfactory, second O is called as optic, third one is called oculomotor, the T is called trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, auditory, glossopharyngeal, vagus nerves, spinal accessory, and hypoglossal nerve. Now among these, some of the nerves are longest, some of the nerves are the shortest. The longest cranial nerve is 10th cranial nerve. Call it as vagus nerve. Very important it is. So longest cranial nerve is 10th cranial nerve, named as vagus. Shortest cranial nerve is olfactory nerve. Olfactory nerve, that is the first cranial nerve. So first cranial nerve is the shortest, 10th cranial nerve is the largest, and another one is thickest cranial nerve. Thickest cranial nerve is second cranial nerve. Cranial nerve is called optic nerve. This is the second cranial nerve. So longest one is 10th cranial nerve called vagus. Shortest is olfactory nerve, it is the first cranial nerve. And thickest cranial nerve is optic nerve, it is the second cranial nerve. And thinnest thinnest cranial nerve is called trochlear nerve. Trochlear nerve. This is the fourth cranial nerve. This is very important. So which is the longest cranial nerve? 10th cranial nerve. Which is the shortest cranial nerve? First cranial nerve. And which is the thickest cranial nerve? Second cranial nerve. And thinnest cranial nerve? Fourth cranial nerve. So do you remember that? It's a very important sequentials. So first to 12th, all the cranial nerves, the sequence, the name is very important. Apart from this, functions also very important. So every year the one question is false from the cranial nerves. They'll ask you either the sequence of the cranial nerves, or they ask you the functions of the cranial nerves, or they'll ask you mention the what are the cranial nerves and their functions. We need to pick up the correct options. The cranial nerves, as I told you, the basis of the function, there are three types. They're called sensory nerves, motor cranial nerves, and mixed cranial nerves. The sensory cranial nerves are three in number. They are the first, second, and eighth cranial nerve. So first cranial nerve is called olfactory nerve, second cranial nerve is called optic nerve, and eighth cranial nerve is called auditory nerves. They all arise or ends with. As I told you, the what is how we can say the cranial nerves mean. The nerves which are arise or ends, or emerge or ends with the brain. Now the 1, 2 and 8th cranial nerves are arise from the sense organs and connected to brain. So they are called sensory nerves. And the motor cranial nerves, they are the 5 in number. They are the 3rd, 4th, 6th, 11th and 12th cranial nerve. They are the motor nerves. And mixed cranial nerves are the remaining. They are the 4 in number. They are 5, 7, 9 and 10th. So 4, 5, 7, 9, 10th. These are the mixed nerves. So on the basis of the functions of the cranial nerve, they are of three types. There are some are act as sensory nerve. They are called 1, 2 and 8. Some act as motor nerves. So they are called as third. Mention is the 3rd, 4, 6, 9, 11 and 12. And some do act as mixed nerves. So they are named as they are called as 5th, 7th, 9th and 10th. Another important point is the 4th cranial nerve is also known as pathetic nerve, and 8th cranial nerve is also known as vestibulocochlear nerve or acoustic nerve. And another important thing is, out of 12 cranial nerves, 10 cranial nerves arise or ends from the hindbrain. Mainly from medulla oblongata, and only two pairs of cranial nerves arise or ends with midbrain. They are third and fourth cranial nerves. If you like this video, please share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.